This is funny. As I'm working on this video, literally on the same day, Dave Anderson of the Knife Center named Vosteed as one of the up-and-coming companies that collectors and knife enthusiasts, as well as just knife users, should be paying attention to over the next few years.
The next company is Vosteed. We've had Vosteed on the site for just a couple of years, but Vosteed as a company has only been around for a couple of years. The designer or the head of the company actually left Kaiser within the last 5 years or so to spin up Vosteed, and they are pushing things forward from the locking perspective especially. They're, more than any other new company, they are experimenting with and pushing new locking stuff forward.
Surprise, surprise, I have two knives that Vosteed kindly sent to me, so let's go. Currently in my possession, I have 6 Vosteed knives. 3 of them I purchased myself, that Raccoon top liner lock, button operated. This parallel, and more recently, the Raccoon that is equipped with the Vancor lock. I call them pivot locks, but they call them Vancor. And the other 3, the Porcupine, the Nightshade or Mini Nightshade, and this, I don't remember what's it called, Clever Girl. And this time they sent me, this is Hedgehog, and this one is also top liner button operated lock, button operated compression lock, I'm going to call it that way. And here we have Ankilo with the Vancor lock. So let's pop these guys open. And see what they're all about. The box got damaged a little bit in transition here, but all the internals are here. Oh, they have a breakdown of the Vancor lock. That's a nice card to have. And a smiley face. The smiley face relates to this configuration here. Now that they planted this image in my head, I can now see it. You know, what's missing is, well, I'll get to it in a little bit. All right, I made you wait long enough. Here it is. Ooh, it's bigger than I expected. Ankilo. Is it Ankilo or Ankilo? Who can tell? Ooh. All right, so right off the bat, it's a similarly to the Raccoon. It is a front flipper. Raccoon has thumb studs, and this guy has thumb hole, which automatically can convert it into like Emerson-like device by just simply putting a zip tie here. I have a video about that. I hope you've seen it. Anyway, what I don't like is when they conflate too many unlocking or deployment systems, because usually they start interfering with one another as you go. So let's see. Well, that wasn't the case. That did great, actually. I did the light switch move. Let's see if the push button. Yeah, kind of in between. Not bad. And let's see. Yeah. I can't flick without the wrist. It's not them, it's just my hand. All right, so this is the Ankilo. This is bigger than Raccoon. I did not expect it. Check them out side by side. So I'll push them against the box. So, yeah, so that's a big knife. Didn't look like that from the pictures. Fits really nice. I like that shape, and frag pattern with a grenade shape handle. It's kind of a good match. Looking at their hardware here, looks like a T8. Let's do a hardware check. What I got here. This is my Hodo driver, multi-driver bit system. I prefer these over the bulbous, short-handled driver sets because of how narrow it is. You will not be able to overexert and generate too much torque when you are assembling the knife, so you're less likely to strip something with it. That almost feels like it could go to T9. Let's see that. Where's my T9? Here's T10 and T9. What I also like about it, it's kind of magnetic and kind of goes, sucks itself in, and then it spins freely in my hand like this. I can grip here and spin. Gives me enough torque, but not too much. Let's see if T9 fits. No. So I noticed on some Spydercos, it's kind of like almost T9, and sometimes T9 actually works better than T8, but not on this guy. All right, and then these two disassembly screws, what are they? What are you guys? Are you T6s? You sure are. This is T6. Let me put that one back in. So, oh look, color match almost. These are good quality. They're 20 bucks normally, but then they do package deals, and sometimes you can get them for around $16 a pop. And of course, these are T6s as well for the clip. Oh, and I just unlocked it. See, you really need, because that's where your thumb goes whenever you operate these type of knives. So let's see if I can emulate the same situation on this side. So yeah, so you know, when you're not thinking about it, you can totally end up doing this. Okay, so I know there's two knives and the video is already getting longer than I expected. I like that nice orange, almost matches their packaging. Ooh, another blue knife. I promise I didn't fill out a questionnaire with my favorite color. This is awesome. That's the word I'm looking for. Let me put this away so it doesn't confuse me. Okay. So which one would I like the most? The one with a thicker blade. Sorry, I'm in a good humor today. So let's grab the caliper. All right, thickness check. I got 136 thousandths of an inch stock on the Ankilo. This feels thicker, but is it? Nope, it's about the same. Actually, a thousandth of an inch thinner. And is it the same on the new Raccoon? I really like the Raccoon lineup. It's the thickest. It's 138 thousandths. And what's in millimeters? Let's do that. It's going to be 3.5 millimeters. So they're all right around 3.5 millimeter. We got pivot hardware T8, T8, T6, T8. What about the construction? This time it's on a spacer, and I understand why. That's what a requirement is for it's basically a flipped over liner lock, but don't confuse it with all the failings of the liner lock that has liner on the bottom here, because in this configuration it basically utilizes a system very similar to Spyderco's compression lock, which is actually a progenitor, especially if you ask Eric Glesser of Spyderco. Their compression lock is progenitor to the Demco Triad lock. This has the shortest handle and the shortest blade out of the three. And the steels are, we got S35EN, which is so far I've seen as the most premium steel that they sell on Vosteed Knives. And this one is M390, so I'll take it right back, because M390 in my book is just as good or maybe even better than S35EN. S35EN has amazing edge retention, not as good as S30V, but at that expense, so that pays for the increased toughness, even though toughness here wouldn't be an issue with a blade that thick and the grind being maybe 60%. So thicker, more robust blade, definitely a working tool. Multiple grip options. Same on Ankilo. Ankilo. I'm going to go with a Spanish pronunciation. Well, that would be a double L. I don't know, guys. Ankilo. Ankilo. What is it? I have to look it up. I'll put it on the screen if I find out what that means. Here you go. A knobby, gritty dinosaur. Check out the hammer on the tail. Now I know how a lanyard or fob should look like for this knife. Cool. This is super comfortable. This is super comfortable. The Vosteed Raccoon choil, finger choil here, gets a little criticism. It's near functional for my medium size or medium thickness fingers. But I heard people with thicker fingers complain. Let's see how they did it on this one. Same. The profile is very similar. So the reason this side of the blade has satin or hand-rubbed finish and this one has a stonewash finish is because I wanted to prove to myself how hard or easy it is to do a hand-rubbed satin finish. And on at least on this steel 14C28N, it wasn't that hard. The hardest part of doing that is keeping track of where the remaining finish is. And here I kind of was satisfied with the look and wanted to do a video about that. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested in something like that. I think it looks fantastic. I think 14C is meant to be polished or satin finished. And LMAX. Now, LMAX started making appearances more and more often, and now Benchmade even uses that steel. I'll probably have to do a special video. I haven't formed an opinion completely on that steel. It's kind of a budget end of premium steels. So I simply don't have enough experience sharpening or using it. So probably a topic for another video. This time I'm going to do it in grams because some of my audience thinks in these units. So 137 grams. I'll do ounces later. We got 128 grams. 0.2 gram doesn't mean much. And 132 grams. 0.1. So all of these knives are heavier than a shot of vodka in Ukraine and Russia. The smaller one being logically lighter. And let's change the mode to ounces and do it all over again. So we got this at 4.5 ounces. We got Raccoon Vancouver 4.7 ounces. And we got the Ankilo. No, wait. Yeah, that's Ankilo. It's 4.8 ounces. Let's do the blade length and the edge, cutting edge length on all of these. So the blade length here is 76 millimeters. It's measured from the extremity of the handle all the way to the tip. Yeah, 76 millimeters. Cutting edge is 2 7/16 of an inch, or we got 62 millimeters. On the Raccoon, the blade length is 3 1/4 inch, and in millimeters it's 70. Make sure it's 82 millimeters. Make sure here, yeah, 3 1/4, 82 millimeters, and the cutting edge in millimeters is 78, and in inches 3 and looks like 1/16. Let's do the Ankilo. The blade length in inches is 3 3/16, 80 millimeters length, and 75 millimeters cutting edge. And the cutting edge in inches is just under 2 15/16. And for real quick size comparisons, these are Red 1, Ontario Red 1, and Red 1.5. And here's Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and Ritter Hogue, or in this case, Benchmade Griptilian. To take a close look at the cutting edge, I'm plugging in my Microscope. I recommend this for anyone who sharpens the knives because it really helps you see what's going on as you sharpen in real time by plugging it in to your handheld or pad. There are 3 different brightness settings and it's like $25 on Amazon. Raccoon Vancouver first. We're going to start at the tip because how the tip is formed tells us the story of how experienced was the person who sharpened the knife. And even though I see some stropping going on here, the tip is not too rounded off. So we give it an 8 out of 10. The rest of the edge looks like they were, how do I say that? Let's keep it on the straightaway. You probably see better. So they kind of overstropped it a little bit. Looks like they, instead of weakening the burr first by honing it, they went straight for the strop. So you see some little imperfections in the apex. And the apex is radiused over. So in other words, it doesn't come to a crisp line. Now, is it one off? Let's look at the sharpening choil. Again, behind the edge is pretty thick here, looks like. Let me see if I can reduce brightness even more. Probably better. There you go. Yeah, so we give it overall like a 7. Let's look at the Ankilo next, starting with the tip again. Very similar. If I had to guess, it's the same person who sharpened this one. Ooh, there's some kind of factory goo. Let me wipe it off. Now, the fibers of my t-shirts got stuck to the goo. Oh, it won't stop us from looking it over. This one is a little crisper at the apex, but still, they need to actually weaken the burr before they strop. And it happens when you belt stropping. You can see somebody went pretty enthusiastic. You can see how much they took off. So they put on a leather belt. The belt probably had some kind of polishing compound. And they polished off too much, I think. Here it is. You can clearly see just excessive amount of stropping. All 3 like that. Let's take a look at the Hedgehog. I mean, I like sharpening, so here's the... Ooh, this is much better. Look at the tip right here. It's not too radiused over. It's almost a point. We're under 30 to 50 magnification. And they didn't overstrop this guy. So possibly a different person sharpened it. There's some evidence of stropping, but they correctly see there's no shiny line at the apex. Means the apex comes to a really good point here. And let's look at the sharpening choil. Yes. A little bit more stropping toward the back of the blade, which is quite normal when they do it by hand. But I think overall this one is more like 8 to 9 out of 10, as opposed to the other 2 being in somewhere 6 to 7. Yes, much crisper apex, almost no radius, which is as good as you can hope from the factory. So here's like newspaper. So it's sharper toward the back. Question is, will this Raccoon cut the paper towel? It's a lot harder to get into fibrous material like this than into newspaper or catalog pages. Yeah, so maybe 4 or 5 out of 10. Feels sharp to the touch, but it won't pass my paper towel test. Let's see Ankilo next. We'll just go straight. Oh, yes, this one is better. I do wish I had a little bit more precise control, but it does get in and it continues the cut. So this one definitely gets a 7 or an 8. Closer to 7. Yep, not bad. And now let's try the Hedgehog. From the microscope, it looked like the sharpest one. Ooh! Yeah, almost no. I feel nothing. I just hear it cutting, but this is by far the sharpest of the 3. Solid 8. They probably have a couple people doing this sharpening, and one of them is applying too much pressure when they go to the stropping belt. That's my semi-professional opinion here. So definitely from pure sharpness perspective, this edge performed better than the Ankilo, and Ankilo performed better than the Raccoon. I am making part 2 of this video, and that's why I took the knives apart, blades out, because I'm going to test them on my benchtop Rockwell hardness tester. And I think I'm going to add 14C to that experiment. And in part 2, we're going to hype smash to test the locks. We will also bend and twist the blades to see how resilient they are. And we're going to do a couple other things that I will save for later. The videos will actually be published on the same day, except the second part will be available to my channel members immediately. Those are the folks who financially support my channel on a monthly basis by paying a very, very reasonable fee. I literally took the minimal fee that YouTube would allow me to have for monthly membership, and my first level is at that price. Like, it's $4 a month. That really helps the channel because I am very resistant to providing affiliate links to knives and affiliating with companies for in exchange for currency. I think the members deserve this perk. Everyone gets to see this video a few days after I publish it for my members. So sorry about that, guys. If you would like to help some other way, there's always a super thanks. Hyping the video is a new feature on YouTube. And I really appreciate super thanks, because if somebody just watching the video spontaneously sends me a couple bucks here and there, it just tells me that my videos are relevant, and it just inspires and humbles me at the same time. See you in the next video.